What's up, guys? Welcome back to the High PSI YouTube channel. Today we got a little SRT action in, and I was a hoe and didn't film shit, but now we're here. This car came in on a wrecker, not running, and a little investigating, we have discovered pole action. No, we did not discover that you were gay, John. Anyways, the motor's got a hole in it, and that's because the number 2 connecting rod decided to check out. We checked all the way out, as we can see here. So we already kind of had a suspicion the motor had a hole in it, just from the way the customer said it sounded. So we went ahead and quoted him for a rebuild kit from Modern, and then fortunately we have an extra SRT4 block here in the shop. Just, you know, I may work on them. From my years of building SRTs and buying and selling and stripping them and selling the parts and stuff, I have a few extra blocks laying around. So sold the customer a block, but we told him once we got it tore down, we'd get the head checked, which the head's over here. The head seems to be okay. I'm still going to take it with me when I go to the machine shop with the block and have it tested, just to make sure, you know, it doesn't appear that the actually it does appear. You can see where the valves were smacking the top of the piston here. We just blew this thing apart just now and I broke out the camera, so this is kind of my first time looking really close at it. But yeah, you can see where the valves had kissed the top of the piston a couple of times. So we are, like I said, getting the head checked out. Unfortunately, I think I have a couple of heads laying around here too we can get some valves out of if need be. So we're gonna have to get the head fixed. But yeah, parts should come in from Modern here next day or two, and I'll pull a block out of storage, get it cleaned up, and take it over to the machine shop. And I gotta talk to the customer about a crank, because the crank is damaged severely. Let's see if y'all can see the crank damage. Well, you can see this journal is just tore up and it's all chewed up on the side, and the counterweights are all chewed up from smacking stuff around. And then if you look here, the balance shaft assembly is all tore up. So she gone. But John got it kind of loosely stuffed back together. So we're gonna get all this stuff tidied up and get this thing pushed outside. And once parts come in, we'll get after it and get this guy a new motor. Alright guys, it's the next day and we are back at it. Today on the docket we've got this, I guess a 2013, but I'd have to double check the paperwork. But it's an EcoBoost truck, 4-wheel drive version. And we've got a pair of Ford Performance upgraded turbos for it. Now, I know what a lot of you may be thinking, that's a tiny turbo, and it is. But as we all know, these EcoBoost motors are very efficient. The difference between this turbo and the turbo that is on it is the wheel on the turbo is about 2 millimeters bigger, which, you know, they're more efficient and can handle a little bit more power. So John's got the truck up on the rack and he's starting to pull the wheels, pull the inner fenders out, and getting the exhaust disconnected from the turbochargers. That way we can get started on getting the old units out and putting the new turbos in. So stick with us, stay tuned. We're gonna add some boost to this EcoBoost. Alright, as you can see, with the wheel off and the inner fender out, got plenty of room and access to the turbo. But once we got that out, we noticed, if you can see, someone has put something all over that feed line to the turbo, and it looks like something's been leaking. So we're gonna get all this cleaned up and see if we can't figure out where this oil's coming from. As you can see on the head, it looks like there's some oil there. So we'll get all that checked out. We may end up replacing some other parts, because once we put the new turbos in, obviously we don't want it to leak. So we're gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up and get everything taken apart so we can check over all the bolts and the hardware and make sure we have no other leaks with this new install. Alright guys, as you can see, got the Eco Boost all back together and fired it up for the first time. I'm gonna walk around to the other side. So we're letting it warm up and get to full operating temperature and all that good stuff, just so that way we can once over everything one more time before putting the it all the way back together and taking it out for a test drive. But you see that light done, so you can see the turbo on the other side hiding off in there. So we'll let it get to operating temp and then finish putting it back together, and then take this Ford F-1000 out on a road trip. Thing looking good. No lights. Oil pressure's good. Coolant temp's coming up. So. We got this I don't know, 18, 19, I don't remember what year it is, B5 Blue Scat Pack. And as you can see, I'm starting to lay it out. This thing's getting vinyl stripes. So we'll be putting on the stripe kit on this one. Try not to blow away. It's windy as shit today. And then John's over here getting started on header's job on this 15 plus Mustang GT. I can't remember what headers this thing's getting. I want to say it's Cook's, but not 100%. We're gonna go ahead and get started pulling this thing apart. The headers haven't showed up yet. Hopefully that doesn't bite us in the ass, but we shall see. But we're gonna go ahead and get after it. So guys, I wanted to give you a little quick update on the stripes. Went ahead and got the front wrapped up. Excuse me. Now I'm going to go ahead and get all the center lines and the tape down so we can lay the roof, and then obviously we'll be doing the trunk and the rest of the way down. So that's what I'm going to do now, is go ahead and get the center line of the roof marked and lay the tape and get after it. So as you can see, we got our tape line on there, and went ahead and peeled the backing paper and got them laid down. Looks pretty good. You know, we got a little bit of space right in here, but you know, as most of you installers know, you know, when you have curves and you got a big flat piece like that, especially with this kind of pre-cut stuff where you're not actually laying it down with cut tape and stuff, you can see there's a little off, but the front and the backs are touching perfectly. So optically, when you look at it, once we peel the center tape, it's going to look perfect. So go ahead and finish getting in here. Get that moisture out. You see that pop spot right there? It keeps popping up. Won't be a problem once we get some heat on it. That'll stick right down. And just a reminder, we cleaned and prepped the surface, 70% isopropyl alcohol. And the film that we're using here, if I haven't already mentioned, is Avery. So, finish getting all this pressed down, and then we'll break out our heat gun and get some heat on it, and then we'll probably pause on this, let this chill out for a little bit, and start working on the trunk. while this dries out a little bit more before we end up peeling the protective layer that's on top of the film, and then do our final post heat and trim it all out. I went ahead and peeled the roof. I still got to trim it out, but at least now you can see the color. So get that trimmed out, and I went ahead and got this peeled and got it trimmed out, and started doing the back bumper here. So I'm just jumping around a little bit so that way I keep the stress off my back. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep tearing away at the back end here, get this thing wrapped up, and then we'll finish trimming everything out, and then post heat over everything one more again, and we'll be done. And just like that, straps are the stripes are all wrapped up. Just gonna go around and finish a little post heating, but they are all done. I've been doing a pooey job of filming, but John's been over here hard at work. I'll make another PSA because it drives us nuts. You see that? The whole fucking thing is one piece. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing here because I'm about to curse a lot. Stop going to these shitty ass exhaust shop places to have stuff deleted, whether it be the mufflers or whatever. Have them do it right and leave the slip joints where they are. You want to add an X pipe? Cool, add one, but leave it where the exhaust can still be taken apart like it does from the factory, so that way you don't have problems when you do buy nice new aftermarket stuff like these brand new Cook headers that are going on here, that we're gonna have to weld to that now because somebody's screwed the pooch on the exhaust. And we see this all the time with the Mustangs and the Challengers and the Chargers. Guys, quit doing it. And that's my public service announcement for the day. Anyways, John's been hard at it getting these headers in. So pretty soon we'll get everything put back together, and then we'll start cutting this exhaust up to try to make it fit. Exciting. As you can see, John's getting closer to wrapping up the 5.0. You see them beautiful Cook headers down there, all wrapped up. So here's a final look at them all installed, looking good. So now we're going to get this thing off the rack and get it on the dyno and see what it makes.